I caught over 200 shiny Pokemon during the 2 months I spent on Camp Cobblemon, making my reign as Shiny Empress once again uncontested. And while my shiny luck is insane, I also entered camp thinking I knew pretty much everything there was about how to catch shiny Pokemon fast. But here are 9 weird practical tips camp taught me for catching shiny Pokemon even faster. I have always hyped the use of mini-maps for shiny hunting with Cobblemon icons. My favorite Cobblemon icons resource pack has been Minnie's Cobblemon icons, and while I still use that and agree that mini-maps are incredibly useful for shiny hunting, they do have their limitations, particularly around map height. You see, if you're shiny hunting and a shiny spawns on the edge of your Pokemon spawn radius and he's above you on a mountain, your mini-map won't show it unless you're at their level. Same goes for in a cave. You might be wandering around in the forest, but just below you is a cave with a shiny that spawned in, and you would never know because your minimap only shows the Pokemon icons that are on a similar Y level to you. So how exactly do you make sure you don't miss any of the shinies spawning in around you? The Pokefinder. It's an extra mod that allows you to see Pokemon spawn no matter their Y level. And while there are a lot of different features you can use with it, I particularly liked it for shiny hunting. I could click the button to search for shinies only, and whenever a Pokemon name came up on its screen, I knew a shiny was near me, whether that shiny was underground or up on the side of a mountain. There is a new update out for the Pokefinder that has changed from what we used here on camp. However, I haven't heard super positive things about it, so I would recommend you test it out for yourself before committing. Since camp has ended, I've gotten back into my shiny living dex world. Yes, that is a thing I am working towards, and I added the camp's version of the Pokefinder to help me find my shiny starter. Because of what I heard about the newer update, I did choose to stick with the one we had here on camp, but maybe after some testing, I'll be willing to add the newer version. But after using the Pokefinder during camp, I have wondered just how many shiny Pokemon I've missed in my Cobblemon playthroughs, simply due to them spawning on the outside edge of my Pokemon spawn range and down in a cave or up on the side of a mountain. Along with the Pokefinder is the Pokenav. It's part of the same mod, so if you add the Pokefinder, you'll also have access to the Pokenav. But basically, the Pokenav allows you to make sure you're shiny hunting the Pokemon you want in the right spot with the highest odds. So if you want to shiny hunt a Charmander, you might decide to go to a Basalt Delta, but within that Basalt Delta, you might find an area that spawns the Charmander, but also 7 other rare or ultra rare Pokemon. But if you look hard enough, sometimes you can find a spot that limits the Pokemon spawns to just Charmander, therefore boosting the chances of seeing it. That's what we ended up doing on Camp Cobblemon. There was a quest we did that was catch 3 shiny starter Pokemon from the same generation. We already had a shiny Squirtle, we caught a shiny Bulbasaur, and all we needed was a shiny Charmander. After using the Pokenav, we were able to find a spot that limited ultra rare spawns to just Charmander. And while we ended up lucky and found the shiny Charmander spawned in the wild outside our place, the Pokenav still helped us find the best hunting grounds, and I used it for a lot of shiny hunts, including my shiny Turtwig hunt. But let's move on from added mods that were helpful and focus on the new things I learned about Pokesnacks. I'm going to start with probably one of the weirdest tips I learned. When placing Pokesnacks, if they don't have a spawnable block 8 blocks away in the diagonal northwest direction, your Pokesnacks will stop spawning Pokemon. I know, it's weird, but if you have Pokesnacks that have stopped working, this is the top thing to check. I had a few Pokesnacks that had stopped spawning in my shiny living dex world, and after checking, sure enough, there wasn't a spawnable space on that 8th block in the northwest direction. After breaking a few blocks to make it spawnable, the Pokesnacks started working again, and pretty soon, they had all been fully snacked. Just before camp started, I was starting to learn how great using Eevee berries in your Pokesnacks was. You see, Eevee berries limit the spawns from your Pokesnacks to just the Pokemon who drop that Eevee berry. Whereas if you use typing berries, for example, you have a 10% chance of seeing that typing, but you'll also get other Pokemon. Eevee berries allow you just to see the Pokemon you want to see, and you can vastly limit the Pokemon that spawn by doing that. So for my shiny Turtwig hunt, I used Kelpie berries and 2 shiny hunting seasonings like Enchanted golden apples, and even a few starf berries. Though these aren't quite as helpful for shiny Turtwig because of the lack of rarity they give. The Kelpie berry limited the spawns strictly to the Pokemon that dropped attack Eevees in the biome I was hunting. So that ended up being Pokemon like Sentret, Farfetch'd, and Teddiursa along with Turtwig and Grottle. So while yes, my shiny hunt for Turtwig took over 50 hours, using the Kelpie berry was a lot more efficient in the Pokesnacks rather than using Rindo berry for grass-type Pokemon. You can also limit your Pokesnacks even further by prepping the area you're hunting in. I've talked about this before Pokesnacks were even added to the game, where all we had was being able to despawn Pokemon to see as many as possible. But that was more for ease of traversing. What I learned on Camp Cobblemon focuses more on the size of Pokemon you want to limit for. Let me explain. If you want to catch a shiny Chespin, Chespins can spawn in a 1 block wide space, but the Pokesnacks you're using to hunt Chespins will have Qualit berries for defense EVs in them, and that means that Chestnuts can also spawn. But if you limit the space around the Pokesnacks where Pokemon can spawn, you can make sure that the only Pokemon that will spawn is Pokemon that spawn in 1 block. Rings like this work really well. Place a few doorways so you can get through each ring pretty easily, and make sure you slap the top so the big Pokemon don't spawn. And you have for yourself a way to pinpoint the shiny Pokemon you want even further. Now, as a caveat, if you're shiny hunting a Pokemon that can spawn on leaves, slabs aren't really going to work. But let me tell you, after getting a shiny Grottle of 50 hours instead of the shiny Turtwig I needed, I very much wish I had set this up. If you're shiny hunting for a specific Pokemon, sometimes building a sky platform can be really good. Sky platforms like this one limits the Pokemon spawns to just this platform if you're up high enough. So instead of getting wild spawn Pokemon throughout your spawning sphere, the only spawnable blocks are the ones on your platform. So no more missing a shiny at the edge of your spawning sphere. When you do place your Pokesnacks, make sure you are KOing the Pokemon that do spawn if you don't want them. The more Pokemon on the map, the less your Pokesnacks will be snacked from. It's also important that you don't use Pokesnacks around pasture blocks where you have Pokemon roaming, especially if it's a lot of Pokemon. I hunted for shiny Turtwig above my shiny clubhouse where I had my Combee honey farm. Whenever I forgot to recall all my Combees, my Pokesnacks would not work on the grass above. But as soon as I recalled them, all the Pokesnacks would start working. I eventually found out that I could have 4 Combees out working and it didn't impact the Pokesnack spawns that much, which was nice as I was really burning through my honey bottles with all the Pokesnacks for ultra rare Pokemon I was shiny hunting. I had never really used Enchanted Golden Apple seasoning before Camp Cobblemon. Sure, maybe like 1 mixed into a snack or maybe 2, but Enchanted Golden Apples aren't renewable, so getting them is very difficult. But on Camp Cobblemon, we were able to buy shiny hunting boxes with 9 Enchanted Golden Apples per box, which was great for trying for those ultra rare shiny Pokemon. And oh boy, was I spoiled. Being able to use Enchanted Golden Apples freely in my seasonings for bait and Pokesnacks made a world of difference in shiny hunting. It lifted the shiny chance from like times 13 at the highest end using Starf and or Golden Apples to a times 28 shiny chance with 3 Enchanted Golden Apples. It's been a little weird for me going back to my shiny Living Dex world and only having access to Golden Apples and Starf Berries while shiny hunting my starter Pokemon. But I did catch a shiny Aerodactyl with only a Type Berry and 2 Golden Apples on Battlecrafts, so I know I'll be able to catch my starter Pokemon eventually. Prior to Camp Cobblemon, I had never successfully caught a shiny Pokemon while fishing. Now to be fair, I only tried it for a bit before bait was added when we were only able to use Starf Berries. And I didn't try it again until camp. But still, camp gave me the experience to know that when it's time in my shiny Living Dex world, that I will be able to catch shinies using bait. As a side note, I went fishing using no bait on my poker rod, and the amount of rare and ultra Pokemon I was pulling, like Squirtle and Froakie, was crazy. Just goes to show that the enchanted poker rods also have a really good place in shiny hunting. My rod had Luck of the Sea 2 and Lure 2, and it was working so well. Fishing takes a lot of time for sure, and part of me doesn't love just standing there in one spot, but knowing that it works and works pretty well makes me look forward to my shiny hunting I'll need to do in my shiny Living Dex world. And these are the 9 practical tips I learned about shiny hunting on the Camp Cobblemon SMP. Things I will definitely be implementing into my shiny Living Dex world. But don't leave the video yet. While I don't understand the code behind Pokesnacks for the why they work the way they do, if it is something you want to delve deeper into and you haven't seen Goddig MC's video on how Pokesnacks actually work, go check it out. I have linked it in the description. And if you, like me, are more interested in the practical experience of shiny hunting in Cobblemon, go check out my video on the screen now. I know you'll like it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.